In Paralympic sport, to bring a new sport on or to have a sport, we've got to have the number of athletes. So in some wheelchair track events and field events in athletics, we might see a straight final because there might only be in the world 8 double amputee athletes, for example. Wheelchair basketball has a long track record as being a key sport in the Paralympic movement. Wheelchair rugby is a younger sport. I believe it maybe had an exhibition event in 2000 and then actually became on the Paralympic cycle. But it's different because of the impairment and the classification. So typically in wheelchair rugby, it's for athletes who have 4 limbs impaired, and basketball has a classification where 2 limbs are impaired. There's less people out there with 4 limbs impaired, quadriplegia. So therefore you're working with a much smaller population, but it has to be a sport that is played in a certain number of countries, that can be reached by people. So it's still developing, and hence there's not as many females who are quadriplegic or have some form of 4 limbs impaired. So therefore it's more inclusive as being a mixed gender sport. I mean, maybe one day we might see female only and male only, but it's not quite there yet. We were fortunate that Loughborough was invited to a female-only wheelchair rugby competition this time last year that was housed in Paris to try to elevate female performance in wheelchair sport. And that served as a framework for us to gather data to then compare against the males to see the differences of strength impairment, how quick the females are on the court based on the males. And we're presenting that data and collating that findings as we speak to present that to World Wheelchair Rugby to look at some changes in rules and regulations.